welcome everybody here this evening to Centennial Lodge's high school recognition program. I'm John Mazers, and I am chairman of the Public Schools Committee for the most worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington. At this time, we're going to do the flag salute and allegiance. Would you please rise? And I'd like to ask you, please do not seat yourself until the flag is left.
Okay. Ready, cut, present, colors.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, ready, colors. Ready, cut, order, colors. Ready, cut, ready, post.
You may now be seated. For those of you that don't have programs, the courtyard is under the command of Captain Lennon, the retired USMC Senior Marine Corps instructor. And we thank him. At this time, I'd like to introduce the worshipful master this year for Centennial Lodge, worship brother Chris Goldrick.
Welcome everybody to our humble abode here. Just a little bit of quick history. This lodge has been in existence since 1876. We've been at this building since 1954. And just a note of point, these station chairs around South America on a steamship to San Francisco, and then were traveled up to here by wagon. And the reason why it didn't come across the Continental Railroad was because it was too expensive. So we didn't keep around in South America. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Chris. At this time, I will call on Reverend Wally from the Church of Our Savior of Monroe for our invocation.
So I'm not him. He is unable to be here tonight, so I will I'll take his place.
If you don't mind, Brother, I'd like to introduce him while we have him up here. This is our Deputy Grand Master for the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington. And it's a privilege to have him here this evening. So if you join me in giving him a applause.
Thank you. I don't know what it means either. Apparently there's no money in it, I can tell you that. May I have all the Masons rise, please, and assume the attitude of prayer. Most Heavenly Father and great Architect of the universe, we ask thy blessing on this assemblage tonight. We ask that you look over us and guide us. We ask that you direct our thoughts, actions, words, and deeds to the betterment of all mankind. We ask this in thy name. Amen.
So mote it be.
You see the brethren?
Now we're lucky to have some entertainment before we get to the serious business. And we have Jose Garcia, 2013 AIM graduate, and our Masonic Lodge Outstanding Student of the Year for 2013.
And unfortunately, Jose was not able to be here tonight.
Well, that was quick entertainment.
Quick entertainment. He's a full-time working boy going to school.
Okay, well, thank you for letting us know. Presentation of awards, I call on the principal, Jim Dean, Glacier Peak High School.
Gotta find the right guys here. First people I want to introduce are folks who are not receiving awards tonight, but they are ones who are award recipients from last year who are going to help me out in the process of giving out awards. The first person I would like to introduce is senior Megan Davis. Megan, do you want to stand up, please? Anybody here with you today? I think it's mom and dad back in the corner right there. I'll check to make sure. Post-high school, she plans to get a double major in studio art and art education. In this field, she'll be able to develop her creativity and pass it on to the next generation. I would love to make sure that children of all ages have a creative outlet to express themselves. She also wants to be a successful independent artist in that. And she is well on her way. If you've seen, she's also has competed nationally with the work that she's done through the Scholastic Arts Competition here in Snohomish County. A quote from her art teacher of all people: Megan's always energetic, cheery, responsible, and crazy for new experiences and challenges. She can take on any situation and respond in a thoughtful, appropriate manner, but with a new perspective. She's been a major presence in our school. Megan's going to help me out today. Thank you very much. Our second award winner is another senior at Glacier Peak High School, Kai Duan. Kai, do you want to come on? And are you here on your own, or are you here with anybody?
I'm on my own.
Where'd your mom? Okay. She dropped you off, disappeared, and she'll come back. His post-high school, the subject that Kai plans to study after high school is engineering. His chosen field will influence my future, and that through engineering. I hope to develop a sense of teamwork and cooperation, skills that are vital for any career in this field. A teacher comment, Kai exhibited the following traits. First one was drive. He sticks to rigorous courses and succeeds. Determination. There is no let up with Kai. Mental acuity. Great powers of analysis and critical thinking. Pleasant and positive attitude. Kai always showed up happy and ready to try and learn more. And the best of the best. Kai is the top of a rarefied group of AP students in my class. That was Mr. Matt Morgan. Congratulations to both of them. So they're going to help me out, and I'm not sure. I know some of these are awards that we're handing out here, so let's make sure we've got this right. Megan? How many is our first student? Can I have Miss Dana Brager please come forward? Come stand right next to me, Dana. You can't get away. Nice try. Her post-high school ideas: and following high school, I plan on a 4-year university and studying to become a registered nurse. I foresee that as a nurse, I'll be able to use my outgoing and caring nature to help others and have a fulfilling career. A Mason that she has researched and has made a difference, her Mason was William F. Cody. He impacted entertainment, hunting, equality, and America. As a young boy, he worked as a messenger in Oxford. Though his father passed away, Cody showed perseverance through his challenging times as he supported his mother. Furthermore, he demonstrated hard workmanship as he fought for the rights of women and for the Native Americans as well. A Freemason, William F. Cody made a difference in America through his bravery, hard work, passion for equality, and not being afraid to take a stand. A teacher quote for Dana: her poise and presentation on the microphone are examples of her skills in communication. In addition, she is innovative, energetic, and organized. She follows through on assigned tasks with quality product. It's Dana's unique personality that truly engages those with whom she works. A humble confidence balanced with an optimistic joy is what makes Dana an individual respected by her peers and staff alike. And that's Miss Terry Corwin, her ASP leadership teacher, giving me that information about Dana. I welcome and present to you Miss Dana Brady.
My mom
Peak student that we're going to recognize today is Megan Christie. Megan, who is here with you today?
My family.
After high school, Megan wants to study in the medical field and interested in becoming a doctor, a nurse practitioner, or a medical assistant. It will enable me to help others on a daily basis and make a difference, caring for those who need it, working with patients, and possibly helping out with a medical program to assist those in need. I think the work in the medical field will be a great way to make an impact on other people's lives. The Masons who made a difference for her is George Washington. One of the greatest presidents was a Mason, and today many follow his example of character and value. Today, Masons have made a difference in the culture of the country and in my community because they promote upstanding values, education, helping others, and the public service. Masons are involved in programs that help others and promote knowledge, such as Bike for Books. Also, the scholarships they grant assisting students with the cost of college. A teacher quote, "Megan is a very smart, likable person. She works very hard both in school and in golf. I like to define integrity as doing the right thing when nobody's looking, which is especially important, believe it or not, in golf. Megan fits this definition perfectly. I have no doubt that she would always choose to do the right thing, even if she knew nobody would find out that she did the wrong thing. I have no doubt that Megan will be an excellent college student. Her teachers would describe her as intelligent, hardworking, and incredibly nice." This is Mr. Kelvin May. He's a business education teacher and our golf coach here at Glacier Creek High School. I present to you Ms. Megan Christie. Unfortunately, our next student, Emily Clark, had a conflict in her schedule today and could not be with us, so unfortunately she's not here today. I wish her all the luck in the world to her. Our next student that we are presenting, though, here is Alexander Crow. There is a requirement in this, by the way. If you're a student receiving an award coming up, you always send the inside of this. You want to introduce who you have with you here
I
today?
have my mom and my dad.
You know, these moms and dads do have names too, by the way. It's okay if you say their names also, you know, but mom and dad's a good one also. They answer to you. After high school, I'd like to study child development and psychology in hopes of pursuing a career as a child life specialist. A child life specialist helps children in hospitals have an enjoyable stay. So I'll be providing the community with children who are not depressed and who will have a positive attitude even in times of trouble. Masons who make a difference. Masons make students want to continue their hard work, and when a community is made up of hard workers, many great things can be done for the better of the community. Masons have helped many turn dreams into reality and helped those who thought their dreams were unachievable achieve those dreams. With no reservation, I can attest to Alexandra's consistency, self-motivation, and zeal for learning. In my classroom, she deals well and politely with me and her fellow peers. She's quiet and thoughtful, respectful, and also fun-loving, making her a pleasure to have in class. Her inquisitive personality just adds to it all, as she balances a reserved curiosity with a positive outlook. That was Mr. Benson. I present to you Ms. Alexandra Crow. Our next student is Courtney Moran. Courtney. Right over here, Courtney. And do you want to introduce who you have coming with you today? Okay. Lots of people have seen me. The subject that I plan to study in some type is engineering, allowing me to have the opportunities to create and invent new technologies and inventions that will help my community be more efficient and whole as a whole. The Mason who made a difference for her was Henry Ford, a successful engineer and inventor who created the Ford Model T. With his intellect and engineering smarts, he impacted American culture significantly by making it practical for many more Americans to own a car. He started in the early teens, changing the way society functions in terms of transportation and technology. My teacher quote, "I can attest to Courtney's depth, ability to think critically under any circumstance, and give her all to the task at hand. In my classroom, she asks probing questions and other students might not take on and strives to wrestle with problems until she figures them out. Courtney is the discreet type, quietly absorbing a lesson until called upon. This is the case until you talk to her face to face or see her with her friends, where she's happy-go-lucky personality, bounding with energy and irony." This is Mr. Eric Benson, your AP language teacher. I welcome and present to you Courtney Moran. And how about Erica Stromerson? Erica? Come right up here. You have some people visiting. Hi, Mom. That's Patty. When Erica graduates from high school, she hopes to study environmental engineering, and I hope to further advance society, especially in developing countries, by creating methods of harnessing clean energy, creating clean water, and a better public wealth while preserving the environment. Masons who've made a difference. My grandfather, Alfred Stromerson Jr., was a Freemason. He helped to design and build the Boeing plant near Mukilteo. The plant has provided thousands of jobs for our community and has helped the Seattle-based business to expand and flourish. I can attest to, this is a teacher saying, "I can attest to Erica's reliability, self-motivation, and cooperativeness. In my classroom, she deals effectively and respectfully with me and fellow peers. She's courteous and studious and polite, making her a pleasure to have in class. Her bubbly personality just adds to it all, as she's always chipper and positive, approaching her work with zeal and cheerful curiosity. She is an academic type without acting like an academic type." I'm just the opposite. I act not like one and I'm probably not. This is Mr. Benson from AP Language Teacher. And so I welcome and present to you Erica Stromerson. This is a sunny spring afternoon, evening in late April, early May, and so we have a couple of other boys who are missing here in action. One is playing a lacrosse game right at this time, and that's Ian Jensen, so we're missing Ian here tonight. The second one, I will just say it right now so we can get it out of the way, is Mr. Dylan Peterson. Mr. Dylan Peterson has a baseball game in Oak Harbor, and he thought that there was not a chance he was going to make it back anymore. So I'd like to present our next student that I would like to present, and that's Mr. Alexander Hellman. Alex, as he comes up here, is going to introduce the people that came with him. Who came with you?
Oh, yeah. Okay, my parents are right there. Heather and Steve.
There you go, thank you. When Alex finishes with high school, now the thing to note is Alex started high school 7 years ago, or 6 years ago. He's been with us for the last 5 years. He'll end up having 6 years of high school during that time. He started in 7th grade with us, taking Spanish and math classes, and so he's been a Glacier Peak student for some time now, and he continues to be one of our very top students here. I intend to double major in East Asian Studies and Finance and pursue a career in socially responsible venture capital or private equity. The Mason that he sees made a difference is also Henry Ford, and is a good example of a Mason making a positive contribution to society. At a time when many businessmen kept their workers in degrading conditions, Ford paid significantly higher wages than his competitors and reduced the workday to 8 hours. As successful as he was, Ford did not forget the importance of concerning oneself with the welfare of others and the betterment of society. I think I'll find Teacher quotation. Please take a few moments to review singularly unique accomplishments and characteristics of an extraordinarily promising young man, came as a quote. Alex is extremely self-motivated and proactive. As a sophomore, he did 3 AP classes and took tests in them. As a junior, he's now currently signed up for 4 tests, or is it 5?
4 tests.
4 tests. The spring of his junior year, and then they're planning on taking how many more next year? Indeterminate number. Time management and leadership. He is a top competitor in debate. Every weekend he's off working in debate and will be heading off to nationals here in the next couple of weeks. He has passion. It's needless to say one cannot achieve a high level and variety of successes that Alex already has simply diligence and work ethic. He's got passion for it. Alex has set extremely high goals and has all the tools in which to actualize them. While these goals are lofty, they're also expensive, and that's why he's looking for scholarships everywhere he can. That's Mr. Matt Morgan talking about you, very true. An independent tutor for Japanese. And we've got our papers. I would really just go in higher. You're welcome. Always the best laid plans work well. So I present to you folks Mr. Alexander Hellman. Mr. James Paul Horn. Mr. James Paul Horn expects to be and plans to be advanced in education in the University of Engineering. Is that correct? Most likely. The Mason who's made a difference in his life is Mr. Tom Eastman. He's in this community and is one of my Boy Scout leaders. During the time that I've known him, he's helped countless scouts advance through the Boy Scouts Association of America, and many of them have become Eagle Scouts, including James. James gives 100%, 110% on every assignment, regardless of its significance. He participates appropriately during class and in group discussions, and his well-developed sense of humor and personal insights make these discussions all the more enjoyable. In addition, he is a curious and questioning nature, which continuously shows up in his classwork. I present to you, and this is from Miss Carolyn Coombs, his English teacher, and I present to you Mr. James Horn. Andrew King. You didn't come in by yourself, did you?
No, I have my parents right over there. They also have the name Mom and Dad.
Andrew, as a child, always wanted to become one of the doctors who I saw working overseas to help those who did not have a chance to be born in a society where medicine and care are readily available. The Mason who's made a difference in his life, I'm learning about the legacy of FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Turns out they're studying that right now in their U.S. history class. It just seems that this man was handed a welcome basket of despair, but he was somehow able to bring so much worth from it. He not only made the country come out from a recession, but he also provided the basis for the prosperity of America and got us through World War II. Andrew exhibits a desire for knowledge and experience, a thirst for what has occurred before, and an educated guess about what will happen next. Without question, when Andrew leaves our campus, it will be a great loss. For any university or college, it will be a great gain. This is Mr. Dan Parker, our AP U.S. History teacher, and I present to you Mr. Andrew King. And joining me is the next one coming up. This is Miss Dr. Beth Porter from Sonoma Chester.
Before our Sonoma high school presents awards, I would like to make a quick announcement that might be of interest to the parents that are here this evening. The video that's being taken will be on the Grand Lodge web page or site and for free for downloading. If that isn't suitable for you, from what I understand, there might be CDs available. And the person I would contact is Forrest Ryan if you're interested in that, and be for a small fee. So with that, I'd like to introduce you to the principal, Beth Porter of Snohomish High School.
Thank you very much. My two seniors are Brendan Perry and Gracie Elliott. Gracie's not able to be here tonight, but Brendan is, so Brendan, come on down. And then I think I saw you come in with Mom.
Yes,
Would you like to introduce her to us, please?
This is my mom, Kim Perry, and sitting next to her is my father, Robert Perry.
Great. So Brendan was our top junior boy last year, so he's our top senior boy this year, and he will play my Vanna White as well. A couple of things about Brendan. He's planning to receive a double major in mechanical and aerospace engineering. He's looking to be really well-rounded in that field and be able to contribute. One of the great things he wants to do with his future is to be able to come back to Snohomish and establish a scholarship to help future students graduate. So I'm really excited about that one. And then his math teacher, Mr. Riedemann, describes him as a very independent learner, highly and internally motivated young man, continually demonstrates outstanding work habits and paying attention to class presentations. And he goes on with fabulous things to read from there. But Brendan, I left your certificate there. We'll grab that at the end because here is the big stack. And we're going to start introducing. So Michaela Flitch, you're first. Would you come on down and please introduce who you brought with you today?
My mom, Becky, and dad, Dan.
Great. So Michaela plans to study chemical engineering at a four-year college. This will influence her future in that she's looking to be able to get a job that will make a difference to the world as a whole. And when she was looking at Masonic impact, she thought about Teddy Roosevelt and that he implemented the ideas of Masonry into how he ran the country and changed American culture forever, thinking particularly about our national park system and the things he did there. And Vince Ivilia, who is a PE and leadership teacher, says of her, Michaela's dedication, organization, and motivation in academics and activities are truly exceptional. This is evident as she maintains her 4.0 GPA while being involved in many honorable activities and rigorous courses at SHS. Her selfless service is authentic and valued as she volunteers countless hours in the local community service club for elementary schools and youth groups through the church. Congratulations, Michaela. Our next student is Britta Jacobson. Would you come on down and introduce your guests?
Yeah, my mom, Julie.
Thank you. So Britta plans to study health and exercise science and then go into physical therapy, which is great because some of us are aging and could use that. And she thinks this is going to open quite a few doors for her in the future. And when she was considering Mason, who had a great impact, she thought about George Washington as that founding father, but also her great-grandfather, Al Jacobson, who was a Mason and served our country as a county sheriff and also in the U.S. Navy during World War II. And Suzanne Essex, who is our German teacher, says Britta has a well-defined scholastic and professional goals and will work hard to achieve them. I believe her excellent work ethic, reliability, self-motivation, and attention to detail will serve her well in college and beyond. Congratulations, Britta. Mylan Lee. And then would you like to introduce your guest?
Yes, I'm here with my dad, Vin, and my mom, too.
Great. Mylan's plan after high school is to pursue a medical degree, because she's always wanted to be a doctor and help other people lead a healthy life. And as she thought about the Masonic impact, she thought particularly about Franklin Delano Roosevelt and Mark Twain, both of whom dealt with unique things. FDR, obviously, dealing with our country through the Depression, and Mark Twain in his eloquence and language. And then Dan Dole, who is our French teacher, says, I've known Mylan for going on 3 years, and she has not wavered in the least in the production of truly top quality work. Her penmanship, for example, a lost art for some in this day and age, is brilliant. It bespeaks the intellect that she represents in every aspect of her delivery. She is patient and helpful with other students, all the while with a gentle sense of humor. She's appreciated by all her peers and by all her teachers. Congratulations, Diane. Ava Lindvog, would you introduce your guests?
My mom, Carol, and my dad, Paul.
Ava plans to study mathematics and music performance. Studying these subjects will bring her fulfillment in the future because they're both subjects that she loves and is excited about. As she thought about Masonic impact, she thought about George Washington and Ben Franklin, both members of the Masonic Society, who strongly advocated individualism and freedom of religion in making of America. And Amanda Cote, English and history teacher for us, says, what is so unique and interesting about Ava is not just her incredible work ethic, but also her dedication outside of school. She's an incredibly talented musician. She's played piano for 11 years and oboe for 5. And this isn't just playing an instrument. She pursues her music with the same tenacity and drive that she commits to school. When looking for an example of a well-rounded student, Ava Lindvog is the best example I've seen in my career. Congratulations, Ava. Brianna Nation. And then would you introduce your guests, please? Okay, great. Brianna wants to be a dental hygienist in the future because she's always been interested in teeth, and she feels like that kind of determination can help her with career and help other people. She appreciates the Masons as they've sponsored fundraisers, blood drives, and many other worthy causes. They give about $2 million a year to charity, and they run learning centers for children with learning disabilities. And Jennifer English, one of our English teachers, interesting, Jennifer English is an English teacher. Anyway, Brianna has displayed a desire to demonstrate mastery of content and perfection of skill in my class. Jennifer says, in my 14 years of teaching, I have rarely encountered, even teaching honors and AP courses, students who advocate for their own learning outside of the 55-minute class period. Congratulations, Brianna. Matt Forrest. And who did you bring as your guest?
I brought my mother Amy and my dad Matt.
Matt plans on studying mechanical engineering, and he hopes to create or improve products for the consumer. And Masonic membership has included presidents and kings, poets and judges, grandfathers and uncles. Masons are a group dedicated to their secret society, but reach out to the community with opportunities to help with education, which is one of the things we're doing here tonight. And Vince Villier, our leadership teacher, says, as a person, Matt is caring, compassionate, and confident. He works well with people, and his devotion is a great part of his personal success and service. Congratulations. John Magnus, who did you bring with you tonight?
My dad, Paul.
Your dad, Paul. John plans on studying engineering after high school. He says, I hope to realize my goal of creating useful and important technologies that will make the community run smoother and easier. And looking at a Mason who had a great impact, he thought about Benjamin Franklin, who devoted his life to one of science and politics. He made important advances in both of these fields while being a resolute abolitionist in a time when slavery corrupted our nation, setting an example for years to come. And Mr. Weller, our physics teacher, says of John, that John is an intelligent student who approaches all that he does with quiet enthusiasm. In science, his strength is in the details, being able to break a problem down and find a strategy to solve it. He has a strong character that, combined with his work ethic and determination, will allow him to be very successful in all he does. Congratulations, John. Zane Morrison, would you come up and introduce your guests?
I have a company by my dad, Zane, my mom, Dina, and my sister, Anne.
So Zane plans to study to be a chemical engineer after high school. And when he looked at Masonic impact, he was thinking about the charter members of the Centennial Lodge here. And that would, I'm going to not pronounce their names right, gentlemen, I apologize. But Kirkanis, Allenson, Elhannon, and Blackman, I got that one. And they were instrumental in establishing the early culture of our town. And Zane really appreciates them for doing that. And Dave Weller, again, our physics teacher, says of Zane that he is truly a creative and intelligent student who approaches all that he does with enthusiasm. He has an analytical mind and is constantly problem solving and testing ideas for flaws. And whether it is his future for goals for attending college or whatever activity, he knows that he will be successful because of all that he can contribute. Congratulations. Riley Nelson. Riley, who did you bring with you?
My mom, Tammy, and my dad, Bert.
Where are they? There they are. Okay. Riley, at this point, is interested in attending a four-year school and getting a degree in engineering. He's particularly interested in the aerospace industry. And when he thought about Masonic Impact, he thought about his grandfather, Roger Nelson, who was a Mason in Ferndale. And he says about his grandfather, he had a big influence on my life and has made many contributions to the community. He served our country through the U.S. Army in the 1950s, and he raised 4 kids, including Dad, and supported many organizations, including the Boy Scouts. And Justin Fogg, a math teacher for us, says Riley has the character and capability needed to take his education to the next level with college. Riley is also very involved with our school and belongs to various clubs. I know that Riley will be successful in meeting challenges and will accomplish any goals set before him. Congratulations. Shad Straley. Shad, who did you bring with you?
I brought my mom, Amber, and my dad, Zach.
Great. Shad says he plans on studying a combination of economics and political science as an undergraduate and then moving on to law school. And for Masonic Impact, he also thinks about a grandfather, though his great-grandfather, John Wesley Fultz, who was a Mason for many years, and also great-grandmother was also very involved in the Eastern Star. And they held the position of worthy patron and worthy matron at the members, or at the Lodge 160 in Sultan. And his great-grandfather embodied what it meant to be a Mason, and he was a math teacher at Sultan High School. I think that's really great. And Amanda Cote, English and Social Studies teacher. Snohomish High School says, Shad possesses the interest for learning that all teachers hope to see in their students. Whether it is understanding and discussing a piece of literature or diving into the inner workings of the U.S. Congress, he throws himself into school intellectually. He's a true example of a student who understands that knowledge is power. Congratulations, Shad.
This time I'd like to call on Mary McGoldrick for her Joe Sauter's Award.
You want me to do it?
I can do it for her.
Okay, right, thank you.
Drop that.
Come on up here. I'd like to introduce Miss Mary McGoldrick. After high school, she plans on including and going to college to learn more about child development and the proper way to take care of children. I'd also love to teach elementary school because I believe these are the most formative years in an adolescent's life. Some of the things that she's been involved with in her community have to do with JDI Bethel 50, and I think that's a little joke out of it. She's been here for 6 years as a member. She's been Bethel 50 past honored queen. She's worked with Glacier Peak High School students as in the Catholic Science Fair as part of her work there. She's Honeywell Youth Day Activity Coordinator and worked with that group with Honeywell. She's worked hard on cleaning up the Memorial Garden at the Masonic Park, as well as began the start of the Memorial Trail at the Masonic Park. Masons who made a difference in her life. She's going to start off with her dad. Her grandfather, her great-grandfather, and several uncles. They were all Masons, and all were important to her. Masons are known for the Shriners Children's Hospital and locally known for their Bikes for Books program and their support of Job's Daughter, Rainbow Girls, Team Malay, and the Boy Scouts. And so I present to you from Glacier Peak High School, the Masonic Family Scholarship editor, Ms. Mary McGoldrick.
Chris wanted to be involved in that, but wasn't quick enough. Art, would you like participate in Melissa Gary's
Melissa Gary, please come forward. This is Melissa Gary. She's a junior at Snohomish High School. She likes to be called Melly. She's a past honor queen of the Beth and 50 chapter of Job's Daughters here in this lodge. I don't have her bio in front of me, but I know that...
Well, her plans for the future. Her plans for the future that she plans to study musical theater in college, go to Michigan, so that she can teach it and participate in it as much as possible. And her Masonic impact, she talks about the world of Joseph Smith, and after praying faithfully, he became a prophet to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, translating to the Book of Mormon. And her Spanish teacher, Ali Fuentes, says, aside from being an exceptional student, Melissa has been involved in the school's theater productions, on the drama club, the women's ensemble, campfires, Camp Colloqua, National Honor Society. She's received numerous awards, including creative writing, vocal solo, scholars of the quarter in history. She's a very responsible student and expects nothing but the best. Ali expects nothing but the best from her, so congratulations.
Melissa, you disappeared too quick. There's another plaque there on the altar for her. I don't know what her dad was thinking.
I wasn't sure what was happening right now.
Maybe, no, it should be the big one there. Or is it?
This one right here. This is one. This says, Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington, Scholarship Foundation 2014 recipient. That's you. Melissa Christine Gary, Snohomish High School, Snohomish, Washington. In witness whereof, we have hereon set our hand and affix the seal of the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Washington, this 15th day of April 2014, and signed by the Grand Master himself, Bruce E. Vesper, and the Grand Secretary David P. Owen, with the seal of the Grand Lodge.
I'd like to inform you that you're one of our $1,000 recipients. Before we move on to our AIM students, I'd like to say that the Grand Lodge gives out several scholarships along with other bodies, Masonic bodies in the state, and so we're very happy to be here this evening and recognize Melissa for her efforts in the Masonic family. And we have, in our Masonic family for youth, we have DeMolay, Job's Daughters in Rainbow, and she is one of our recipients, and so we're very proud of her. I can represent all the students throughout our grand jurisdiction, which is the state of Washington, for their academic excellence. So with that, I would like to step up to our AIMS school, and I'll be introducing to you June, no, let's see.
Yep, that's right.
Is that you?
Diary.
Yeah, thank you.
And I don't know where mine is. Let's see where I am. Okay. This is only the second year Maine High School has been involved in these awards, so we want to really thank the Masonic Lodge for including us. And because of that, we recognize some extra seniors this year because we're kind of playing catch-up. And so I have 3 seniors tonight that I want to recognize, and then I'm going to ask them to come up, and as they come up, stay with me, and then they can hand out the awards to our 2 juniors. So the first one is Tiara Christensen. Do you want to tell us who you are tonight?
My dad, Thomas, my grandparents, Penny and Jerry, and my other grandparents, Margie and Lauren.
Okay. So
Just really briefly to let you know that Tiara has been one of those students who's attended 3 high schools, and as she said, she found her place when she came to AIM High School. And she has some very specific plans. She's done a great job researching all of it. She's planning to go to Everest College first to get a certificate of medical billing and coding, so she can then work and afford to go to Everett Community College for her AA degree in medical administration and medical receptionist, and then eventually get her bachelor's degree in medical administration and receptionist. So I'm going to have you stand up here and help. Okay. So next I'd like to recognize Sonia Peterson. Sorry, honey, we have a Sonia and a Sonia. You're my Sonia. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, so Sonia Peterson is also a student who is planning to go to college. And I'm going to read from the teacher recommendation because in this it specifically says what her plan is. Sonia is very hardworking, is a polite, well-adjusted, and sincere young woman. She's also very concerned about many of the social and environmental issues which our country currently faces. So this is coming from her government CI teacher, who said that she approaches her assignments methodically and timely, and as a government student, he notices her mature observations about complex issues that have to do with environmental. And so she plans to go to Skagit Valley Community College and then eventually Evergreen State College to study environmental science. So congratulations. And last but not least for seniors is Taylor Setter. Taylor, you want to introduce the crew that's here tonight?
I brought my mom, Stacy, my dad, Adam, my 2 cousins, James and Rita. They're over there somewhere.
They're nice. Taylor, come over here next week. Okay, so Taylor is one of those students who always tells me she has so many ideas about what she'll do after high school and what she'll do in college. And I told her I vote for pastry chef. She has plans and has already made arrangements to go to Everett Community College and will be studying, hopefully, pastry chef. Yeah, we're talking about it. But I want you to know that we all feel that Taylor is a very directed and focused student, and when she knows what she wants to do, she goes after it. Particularly her science teacher, Mrs. Newsom, who she is a TA for, talked about the fact that she's one of those students that always says, I can totally do it, whatever it is you need me to do, and helps her get through her very crazy day. Yeah. I'm going to start with our first junior is Dallas Denton. Because I'm going out of alphabetical order. Okay, Dallas, you want to introduce who you have here tonight?
My mom, Diane, sister, Tessa, and my grandma, Ruth.
Great, thanks for coming. So Dallas is one of those students who came to AIM High School after he had gone to IQ Academy, where he won many awards and was on the dean's list. And since he's come to AIM High School, he's earned a lot of awards beyond that. He's currently in Running Start, so we don't get to see Dallas as much as we would like to. But he is, from there, planning to go to 4-year university to finish his degree in education. And he's really interested in the Japanese language and the Japanese culture, so he hopes ultimately to live and work in Japan, possibly teaching English and learning more about their culture. But of course he has a backup plan, that if that doesn't happen, he would also be interested in possibly working as an interpreter if he was still here in the States, or possibly going up to Western Washington to also aspire students, Japanese students who come there to learn. The Mason who made an impact on Dallas's life, and this is a familiar story we heard tonight, his great-grandfather was the master of the Masonic Lodge in Medical Lake, Washington. He raised his family with the values, and he volunteered and supported Eastern State Hospital in Medical Lake, as well as the Shriners Hospital in Spokane. And that his grandmother was raised in Rainbow Girl and Job's Daughters, and his great-uncle is still a member of the Masons in Spokane. So he's very proud to be coming from a legacy. From his teacher's recommendations, everyone always says, and his teacher, Margaret Whitlow, is here tonight, he's a pleasure to have in class. He always contributes 100%. He tends to be someone who completes things ahead of time since he's so structured and scheduled with going to Running Start. And so we congratulate you for your award, Dallas. And my other junior is Sarah Ibra. Where's she? Hey Sarah, who do you have here tonight?
My mom, Mary, and my dad, Mark, and my sister. Yeah, she's tired.
Good. This is Miss Sarah Ibra. So I'm going to start with the Mason that Sarah found was influential was Stephen Arnold Douglas, and I'm guessing you also were studying some of this in U.S. history. An American politician from Illinois, and that she comments that he was well known as a resourceful party leader and believed in the principle of popular sovereignty and that the majority of citizens should decide issues such as slavery. And so this is someone that she feels had a great influence on our history. As far as her future plans, we get really excited when we talk to Sarah about her plans because she plans on becoming a NICU nurse. And so she's got a plan in mind to first next year as a senior go to Snow Isle Skill Center to get her CNA, and then go on to college at Everett Community College and eventually to the University of Washington to become a certified RN. And we see her with some of our babies at AIM High School, and we know she'll make a wonderful nurse, and she's a wonderful friend. She's dedicated and determined to be successful, according to her teacher, Sally Singh, who is here tonight. She shows responsibility and leadership skills that are well above her years. She's self-motivated to complete her classes, and she's always dependable and takes direction very well, which we always appreciate. Thank you, Sarah.
I think so.
Okay.
I'd like to announce the educators here for Snohomish School District. Maine High School is Sally Singh.
Come on up, Sally.
Come on up. For Glacier Peak High School, Amanda Shadow. And from Snohomish High School, Captain William Long.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Okay, this is Sally Singh. Sally, who did you bring here tonight?
I brought my husband Charlie and my granddaughter Aubrey.
Very good. So I want to start off, I'm going to go from the end and talk about that when we had to do a little summary at the end, I said that the most important thing to me right now is Sally is all about the kids. In the classroom, at a staff meeting, during any events, she always looks at ways to move kids forward. She treats all students equally and goes out of her way to help the ones who need that extra push or celebration. Students enter her room happily all day, knowing she makes learning fun and that they will be successful. She's an encourager and a great listener. Our staff and our students love her. To give you a little bit of background, of course, I promised I wouldn't say anything about years. Sally and I have been teaching together for a long time. Actually came to Snohomish School District and then taught at AIM High School for a while and then taught at Valley View and then came back to AIM. And Sally has been involved currently at AIM, and she has lots of teaching credentials. And so what she is doing now, she says, is the love of her life, is teaching art. Because we're a small alternative high school and no one gets to do just one thing, she also teaches senior math, an independent PE course, and a huge part of our school is our ASB leadership group, and Sally is our advisor for that along with teaching the class, which makes her organizing activities all year with teenagers, which sometimes can be a challenge. She graciously does a lot of this on her own time. Without her leadership, our students would not have the opportunity to improve their leadership and organizational skills. That also makes our school more inviting and having a better sense of community. She's also been our yearbook advisor in the past. Our students have now decided that they do enough through Facebook and they don't need a yearbook anymore. but she keeps taking on more and more roles. The other thing that happens in our school is students all have a mentor, and as a mentor, Sally is one of those teachers who goes above and beyond, assisting them and talking with other teachers, helping them meet their goals, and the students see her as approachable, compassionate, and dependable. Thank you so much, Sally.
I'd like to introduce Miss Amanda Shadoff. Do you have any guests with you here today?
I also brought my dad, Jerry.
Miss Shadoff has been teaching at Glacier Peak High School since the school opened 6 years ago. But before that in the Sonoma School District, and we won't go any more than that. She has a BA in Spanish, and a BA in Latin American Studies, and a BA in History, as well as a Master's in Teaching from the University of Washington. She's also something that's close to my history. Is she's a Hall of Fame awardee from Cascade High School, where I once was principal before, and that's an outstanding, it's an amazing award to get, the top award in the school by far. And we see it in our own school, and we get the benefit of what she learned there. She's a Grizzly Cub advisor, Link Crew advisor, Spanish Club advisor, as well as she teaches. Amanda is an exciting, motivated, and dedicated teacher who loves her students. Students stay in Spanish class for 2 years, just waiting the chance to be in her Spanish 3 class. Amanda doesn't stop there. She's one of the 2 great leaders of our Link Crew program. That helps the new students become familiar with and integrate into high school. The work that she does here makes the transition from middle school to high school a smooth and effective process. But not wanting to stop just getting the 8th graders into 9th grade, Amanda supports our athletic programs while we're in the school year with being a manager of both boys and girls soccer. So she actually manages the game and takes care of making sure that it runs. But also runs the clock for our home basketball games. So she's there all spring, all fall, and all winter, and in the evenings helping us out with that. She integrates athletics and activities through our Grizzly Cub program. That's where we have over 300 elementary level students in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade? 4th, 5th, 6th. 4, 5, 6 grades. And they pair them with a high school student who they work together with as Cub and Grizzly. You know, Grizzly Cub and Grizzly for the whole course of the school year, doing a number of service projects and also social events and that type of stuff to get kids ready with the thought of one of the first goals we want to have is that they cannot wait to get to high school and they cannot wait to be a Grizzly. Amanda is really critical in making that happen, and it truly is effective there. Amanda does it all and is a great teacher too, is what I said here. And so I want to thank you very much for being our outstanding educator nominee for Glacier Peak High School.
Great. So I'd like to introduce to you Captain Will Lennon from Snohomish High School. If you can't tell, he did a long time in the Marine Corps before becoming the senior Marine instructor at Snohomish High School about 6 years ago. And what I love about Captain Lennon is you never know what he's up to. Because at one moment he'll be looking like this at some formal occasion, and then another moment he's in his Chuck Taylors and his shorts and t-shirt and he's running kids around the track. At another moment, usually in the wee hours of the morning, he's got kids in the gym practicing drill team. He's taking our kids to Fort Lewis for the weekend. They're doing great interactive things there that are leadership building and team building and that kind of thing. And he just is kind of everywhere. He's not only that, ROTC is not the only part of his life because he's freshman class advisor too. And so he takes our freshmen and works with them and helps introduce them with all the activities we have at Snohomish High School, provides them that leadership as they start planning for their 4 years of high school. So I'm just really thrilled with all that. He also serves on the committee of folks who choose our National Honor Society members each year. And as the senior Marine instructor for our ROTC, he also helps coordinate a toy drive at Christmas time for families in need. And so he's just an incredibly busy person, very passionate about our community. He's brought his family here, and he's got great young kids to be a part of this community, and not just during the day and on campus, but the community as a whole. He also serves as a volunteer coach in some of our community sports. So I'm thrilled to introduce to you Captain Lennon and congratulate him on being introduced. patriotism worth it. Okay.
That's what I was going to do now. With that, we will turn it over to the captain.
I want to thank the Masonic Lodge for allowing me to present some awards to a few of our cadets this year. You know, many of the folks in this room understand that ROTC is a class in high school just like any other class. Some folks don't, but it is. They sit in the classroom just like any other class. Often what's lost is what we teach there. And I'm not here to make the students, both young men and young women, into Marines or sailors or soldiers or airmen. That's not my job. I'm a teacher. I'm a retired Marine. So what is it that I teach? Well, what we try to teach is we try to teach leadership. We try to teach responsibility, and we try to teach service. And that's service to your family, to your school, to your community, maybe one day to your country. And so today, as we recognize a few of our students for patriotism, these students represent those three values of leadership, responsibility, and a sense of service, something bigger than themselves. Collectively, as a whole, each year, the ROTC students do well over 2,000 hours of community service. And the young men that we have here tonight are a big part of that. We have cadets from 3 schools here tonight, one from Glacier Peak, one from Snohomish High School, and one from Monroe High School. Each of them, or all of those schools, come to Snohomish to be part of this program. So tonight I'm proud to award the Patriotism Medal to, in order, 9th grader to Kellen Ingalls. For the sophomore class, Cadet Jack House. And for the junior class, Cadet Tyler Stevenson.
Thank you. This time it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce you once again to Right Reverend Brother Sam Roberts, our Deputy Grand Master, who will give us a small talk for Sam.
I am your entertainment. One of my jobs is to make sure that these guys, that's doing the cameras, stay awake. So I'm a walker. So we'll just see how well this turns out. The first thing I want to say is I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. Yeah, the weather was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was nice. And here we are. And why? Because this is important. Parents, thank you so much on behalf of the country, on behalf of parents, on behalf of the Masons, for instilling in your children the importance of education and gaining knowledge. Guys, students, did you know that knowledge is one of the few things that nobody can take from you? It's yours. Use it. It belongs to you. I have to admit, I am thoroughly impressed with educators. My grandmother, and you can only imagine that this is like in the age of dinosaurs. My grandmother was a 5th and 6th grade school teacher for 62 years in a 4-room schoolhouse called 5th and 6th grade. Every winter, she taught school, and I got a little story to tell you about that. But every summer, she went back to school. She was the professional student. Even at her last year on earth, she was enrolled in college courses to continue her education. She had 2 doctorates, 4 masters, and nobody really knows how many bachelor's degrees. And she taught 5th and 6th grade because it was important. Masons recognize the importance of education and are huge supporters of scholarships. Can I have all the Job's daughters that are in attendance tonight please stand up? These are the young ladies that have Masonic affiliation, where they understand the principles and values instilled in all Masons. May I have all the Rainbow girls please stand? Rainbow? Not tonight? DeMolay? DeMolay tonight? During the sunshine? These are our youth. May I have all the Masons please stand? Now, when I said all Masons, all of a sudden, all the Masonic bodies may or may not be represented. You know the Shriners, the guys with little funky fezzes and run around in all the parades but there's also York Rite, there's also Scottish Rite, and in every one of these organizations, the values of Masonry are instilled in these gentlemen, and their job is to share that. Brother, thank you very much. So, you heard tonight that each one of these guys that received one of the recognition had some particular Mason in mind and recognized them for some particular contribution to our country, to our political system, to our freedom of religion. Masons have been around for hundreds of years. They are one of the oldest fraternal organizations in existence. And at one time, not today, but at one time, there were over 2 million Masons in this country. And they were all working to instill the values of Masonry in their fellow men. So I'm going to tell you what a Mason is. I'm a Freemason. And I believe that honesty is the only policy. I believe that tolerance is better than intolerance. I believe that patience is better than impatience. I believe that sincerity and plain dealing are better than cheating and shortcuts. I believe that integrity is the character of an individual. I believe that this country was founded on these very principles. And I believe that if we hang on to and promote and propagate these values, as so many of you award winners have demonstrated tonight, that this would be a better country and a better world. Thank you.
I would also like to,
wait a minute, I was going to tell you the story about my grandmother. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, my grandmother, my grandfather was a Mason. He was also 6'6" and about 240 pounds. My grandmother was 5 foot nothing. Okay, so in their later years, they decided that they had enough money that they could go off and afford a new car, their first new car. They were well into their 60s and 70s when they did this, and they went out and bought a Cadillac, one of the big, long, honking 1950s Cadillac, 6 miles to a gallon of gas, but it rode really, really nice. Well, can you imagine a 5-foot woman behind the wheel of a Cadillac? Do you know where she was looking through the steering wheel? Right? So the car was not really that comfortable for her. Now, after having painted it pink, which was her favorite color, and realizing she couldn't really drive it, she gave it to my grandfather to drive. Very patient man. Very tolerant man. And what's she going to drive? Well, my grandfather owned a furniture store. And my grandmother drove one of the furniture store pickup trucks. Well, she could sit up, she could see, right? A little 6-cylinder straight shift. Remember, she's 5 feet nothing. My grandmother was late to her own funeral. Literally, she was always late. Always late. somebody once asked, what time does school start? Now, you have to understand that the school was about 12 miles from her home, and she would leave 5 minutes before 8 in a 6-cylinder pickup truck to go through the middle of town. So she was always late. Somebody said, what time does school start? She goes, I don't know. I've never been there when it started. Again, her commitment to education and to knowledge is what I'd like for all of us to take home tonight. So here's my story about that.
This time, as we get ready to go for refreshment, I'd like to recognize a few people. And first of all, our Margot Goodlow, instructor and any of my students who is in charge of the refreshments, along with the AIM students. And going down the list, I'd like to recognize our very worshipful brother Steve Lundell. Would you please rise? He's our district deputy for this area to make sure that all these lodges and brother masons are doing their work properly. Thank you, Brother Steve. I also would like to recognize Forrest Ryan. If you step forward, Forrest. He's our coordinator for the Snohomish School District that helps organize this recognition award along with the principals and the staff of the schools.
We do have a few things to give out.
We do?
We do. Well, don't
Please step forward and take care of that.
Would you like me to take care of that now?
Please.
I'm not making another speaker.
You know, in the Masonic Lodge, it's traditional that you never talk after the Deputy Grand Master has spoken. But tonight we're going to do an exception. We have some things, and if I could get the 3 educators of the year to come up, because we have some additional educators that I want to recognize. Would you take those, Beth?
They should be up there.
Brother Forrest, can we move him to the other side of the altar?
Would you take this one and bring that person to up here, please?
June Sharvey. Right. Perfect. Wait. Jim Dean.
And I have one more here. A young lady by the name of Kristen Foley. I asked the secretaries of these people if they would give me something to say about them. And so, if I may. We'll start out with Jim Dean. Jim is married, 4 children, grandpa to 5, graduated Seattle University with a degree in chemistry, received his master's at Seattle Pacific in Education Administration, 35 years in education. He's been an administrator for 27 years and a principal for 23 years. And added to that, he was a solid gold dancer. But he had to quit because he was too tall and caused too many injuries.
secretary.
Okay.
Beth Porter.
Yes, sir.
She was a song.
Beth Porter graduated from Columbia Christian College, City University, and Seattle Pacific University. She then began her teaching career at Lake Washington School District from 1991 to 2001. Before coming to Snohomish School District, Beth started in 2001 as assistant principal at Snohomish High School and became principal of Snohomish Freshman Campus for its final year. She has been principal at Snohomish High School since 2008. Porter is crazy about theater, especially Broadway productions. She and her husband, Buzz Porter, have seen nearly 500 Broadway shows. About 300 of them have been in theaters in Seattle or other cities, but they have seen 190 shows in New York City. She loves Broadway. The Porters who live in Bellevue try to make it to the Big Apple every year. In the past decade, they have visited New York 15 times. They were there over the Snohomish District winter break and enjoyed a whopping 30 productions. They enjoy traveling. Now I have, this is from AIM High School, and this really tells who June is and what it's all about. Once upon a time, there was a wise man who used to go to the ocean to do his writing. He had a habit of walking on the beach before he began his work. One day he was walking along the shore. As he looked down the beach, he saw a human figure moving like a dancer. He smiled to himself to think of someone who would dance today. So he began to walk faster to catch on. As he got closer, he saw that it was a young woman. And the young woman wasn't dancing at all, but instead she was reaching down to the shore, picking up something, and very gently throwing it into the ocean. As he got closer, he called out, "Good morning, what are you doing?" Had to stop and rest. The young woman paused, looked up, and replied, "Throwing starfish into the ocean." I guess I should have asked, why are you throwing starfish in the ocean? The sun is up and the tide is going out, and I don't throw them and they'll die. But young lady, don't you realize that there are miles and miles of beach and starfish all along it? You can't possibly make a difference. The young woman listened politely, then bent down, picked up another starfish, and threw it into the ocean, past the breaking waves, and said, "It made a difference to that woman." June graduated from Allegheny College in Pennsylvania. Started teaching in Snohomish in winter of 1977. She worked in the district, she has worked in the district for 37 years. Now you can tell why we have secretaries. June is the best administrator any staff or student could have the privilege of having. She runs AIM High School, Parent Partnership, Apex, and Re-Entry. June has many qualities that make her a standout administrator, among other things. She is compassionate, fair, level-headed, organized, and open to new ideas. Now we come to another young lady. If I can find it. Well, anyway, I don't have that with me.
Draw it on the floor.
No, that's just the program. Kristen Bowler. Kristen is the communicator, chief communicator for the Snohomish School District. And I have to admit that last year I gave out a few things to some other people. And so if I could get my wife to come up.
Just got me. Hold on.
Just take it from it.
I did.
This is the one I didn't give you last time.
Why don't we break it out right now? Why don't you start with the teacher of the year one? You got it? June? June? They said Jim. No, June. Part of this organization.
Mary McGolder, front and center. Please. Melissa Gary. Mary.
Educator of the Year.
You're ready to sit down. Thank you so much.
And then
So one of the things that happens every year is that, do you want to talk about the reading process, or you want me to just?
do what?
How you pick the top junior boy and girl?
Go ahead.
So the students fill out an application, and it's read by members of the Masonic Lodge and scored, and then one junior boy and girl from each school is chosen as the top junior boy and girl for that school. And so I'm pleased for Snohomish High School to introduce our top junior boy and girl, and that is to Mylan Lee and Zane Morrison.
I'd like to announce the top boy and girl for Glacier Peak High School. Our top girl is Dana Brager and Mr. Andrew Kim.
again, we're playing catch-up at Ames High School. We have an outstanding senior that was selected, and that's Sonia Peterson.
Jennifer Royal. We give this to you, and this can hang out.
Oh, cool.
Every year, the people that we deem that goes on to our Grand Lodge competition, we engrave their name on the plaque that hangs at the high school. And so that's what we've done here. And this happens to be Snohomish.
Thank you, kind sir.
And the Educator of the Year is it's a district-wide honor, and the one that we dedicated this year is Captain William Lennon, and this will hang at the high school. And then, where's Jude?
Right here.
This also, you can take that back and hang in your high school. Jim, I guess you're live.
Thank you.
There you go. And you can hang that up in your honor.
Thank you.
I'm done.
At this time, I'd ask everybody to please rise. Please join with me in recognizing the parents and the recipients of these awards with a round of applause. At this time, I'd like to ask our organist, Brother Bill Wade, to give us a fine tune to join our refreshment. Thank you, Brother Bill.
Thank you. Refreshments are over in the other side of the building in the large dining room. Just go through the foyer, through the other double door.